Story 1. My mom and brother have made my life hell. I don't know what to do. Ever since I can remember, my mom and brother have made my life hell. They're constantly having digs at me, being bitchy, sly, and being very passive aggressive, and also quite insulting to me. Because of them and also an abusive relationship, I suffer from severe depression and anxiety, which I'm on medication for. And to be honest, I don't want to know them anymore. I'm a full grown adult. Whatever I do for them, it's always wrong. Both of them try to emotionally manipulate me and also use me for their own gain. I go to visit, and I am met with a list of jobs, babysitting duty while they go out or do their own thing, as well as insults and jibes constantly. I lost my dad a while ago, and he was the only one who stuck up for me and never did any of this. And honestly, I miss him more than anything in the world. Things got worse while my dad was sick. I helped my mom take care of him 24/7 for weeks at a time before I would go home to rest, then return a week later, all while having 4 hours of extremely disturbed sleep. My mom and brother would take a lot of their frustrations out on me, and when I stood up for myself or my own family, things would get worse. Nothing physically, just always verbal. At one point, it got so bad I upped and left the following morning. Now, since my dad's death, I've visited twice in the last year. I barely message them, and when I do, I'm always met with a thumbs up emoji halfway through a conversation or a simple, "Oh, okay." How do I respond to that? It usually occurs when I say something they don't like, such as I'm working and can't come down. I instantly get guilt-tripped by them. The last time I went down, the first thing my mom said was, "Now you have that new promotion at work. When are you going to lose weight?" Followed my digs and insulting jokes about her and my brother. Keeping in mind, my brother is twice my size, and my mom is not a small lady either. The moment I stepped foot into the house, I had to help clean. I had to babysit my niece while my brother played his Xbox. He's older than me, and at 32 years old, still lives with his mother with his daughter, who he never looks after, and leaves it to my mom or me when I'm around. I had to help with her homework, do arts and crafts with her, feed her, and put her to bed, all while having both mom and brother dig at me. Not long after I'd won a raffle at my friend's body shop store and got 130 worth of makeup and beauty products, I'd taken a picture of me with my makeup on because, for the first time in a long time, I felt great. I felt beautiful. A few days later, my mom's FaceTimed me, and while we chatted, I sent her the picture to be met with, "Very good, when are you losing weight?" That instantly made me regret everything I'd done. On Mother's Day, I sent my mom a card, which arrived late due to the postal service, but I couldn't get her a present. I explained it to her because I didn't have enough money, but I wished her a happy Mother's Day and said I'd get the present to her as soon as I could. She told me to forget it, then made a point of tagging me on FB about getting her hair done, etc., etc. The gift she wanted was money to get her hair done. She also tagged me in a post with my Mother's Day card to her saying, "Better late than never," all while praising my brother up and down the mountains on FB. Whenever the thought of going down there, speaking to either one of them fills me with dread and anxiety, I hate it because I know what's to come. Yesterday was my brother's birthday. I didn't send him a card nor wish him happy birthday. Last night, my mom sent me a message asking if I was alive. I read it and did not reply. This morning, she sent, "Still not alive?" I haven't opened the message, but I read the preview. I know it's about not wishing my brother a happy birthday or sending him a card or present. To be honest, I don't want to. He never bothers me. So why should I bother about him now? I have no idea what to do with this situation, as my mom and brother are extremely dramatic and over the top. Anyone recommend anything for me to do? Please. Update. My mom was messaging me about my brother's birthday. I got another message this morning, asking if I was still alive, to which I replied that I've been busy working. My mom then asks if I've forgotten my brother's birthday. And again, I replied, "No, I've been really busy at work," which is true, so I'm not lying. The response I received was, "Okay, you missed it, no probs." So I did what she does to me and sent her a thumbs up emoji. Story 2. My brother made me have the worst night of my life. My 27 male brother, 24 male, put me in a shit spot. About 3 years ago, we got invited to a mutual friend's wedding. I was excited for several reasons, one of which being I don't get to see my brother, Jake, often since I work out of state, so it was a great chance to catch up. My fiance couldn't make it since she was finishing school several states over. At the reception, he caught the attention of one of the bridesmaids, we'll call her Sally, who would not leave him alone. Any conversation that he was a part of, she would jump in and keep asking people if he was actually 21 because he looked 17. I'm not entirely sure why this was her main conversation point, but I heard it about 5 times through the night. But they seemed to hit it off pretty good, and I was about to chalk the entire wedding up as the best ones I'd been to until the very end. As I'm getting into my car, Jake comes running up and asks me to go downtown with him and Sally. I said thanks for the invite, but I'm tired and I'm just gonna drive back to our parents. He said that Sally wanted to hang out with him, but she wouldn't leave her friend Jess, and Jess didn't want to be a third wheel. I declined again and said that driving an hour into town, the venue was out in the country about 10 minutes from my parents' house, just to get drunk was not what I felt like doing. He then turns around and yells to everyone in the parking lot that I'm drunk and trying to drive home. Everyone and their mother ran over and started berating me for being irresponsible. I was trying to explain to them I was sober when Sally yelled out, every time I saw him, he had a drink in his hand. I had 3 the whole night. It was a 5-hour wedding. But after that comment, the mother of the bride told me if I got into my car, she would call the cops. My brother took my keys and tossed them to Sally, who went with Jess to get their car. I'm pissed at this point, but he tells me he's got it all figured out. I hang out with them downtown for an hour, be friendly with Jess. I could Uber with him back to his place. He would rendezvous with Sally, then take me back to my car in the morning. I hated this plan. On top of being exhausted, I also felt uncomfortable. It seemed like the whole situation was bad optics for a guy who's engaged. I text my fiancée to see if she's awake so I can keep her in the loop and ease my own growing anxiety. But she'd gone to sleep hours ago since she was 2 time zones over. To avoid any miscommunication about what this night would entail when I introduced myself to Jess, I said, "Hi, I'm happily engaged." She just laughed and thanked me for coming so she wouldn't be a third wheel. An hour is a long time to spend in a car with strangers, so I tried to get to know them. They were pretty much open books, told me about their plans for the future, their past, their families, etc. I noticed Jake got quieter as the drive continued, but I figured he was just finally getting tired as well. When we got there, Jake and Sally went to get drinks, so Jess and I hung out near the door. About 30 minutes later, we got approached by one of my fiancé's friends, Lily. She cuts between Jess and I, asks me who I'm with. Me. This is Jess Lily. That's cool. How do you know each other? Me. We met at a wedding today. Lily. And now you're out drinking with her. Does fiancé know? Me. Well, no, she's sleeping, but I texted her. Lily. I hope you did. She then turns to Jess and tells her I'm engaged and leaves. At this point, I'm ready to call it. I had already thought the whole thing looked bad optically. And after that conversation, it was pretty much confirmed. I go to find my brother and I run into Sally, making out with some dude at the bar. I feel bad for Jake since it seemed he liked this gal. But she then informs me that he actually ditched her and left. She had no idea why. He didn't say anything to her, but he had walked out the back 20 minutes prior. She then grabs a new guy and they go out the back door. I call him, but it goes straight to voicemail. I don't know his address. No friends are answering. It's past midnight and everyone's asleep. Jess is freaking out now because she doesn't know where Sally went. 15 minutes later, Sally finds us. Apparently, she was so mad, she just decided to angrily bang this guy in his truck. The guy kept coming around, trying to get her to go back to his place, but she doesn't want to go. He starts getting very persistent to the point I thought he was going to do something stupid if I left the girls alone. So I suggested we leave. Not long after we start driving, Sally passes out, drunk AF. Jess is fairly distraught and asks me to help care for Sally and offers me a couch. I curse my brother under my breath, but I agree to stay at their place so that hopefully I could at least sleep soon. I got to the point of exhaustion where being awake almost felt like torture. I'm an old man at heart, and making it to the end of the wedding was an achievement in itself for me. But my torment wasn't over. When we get to the house, they knock, and their old roommate answers and tells them to fuck off. Apparently, they don't actually live there anymore. They had graduated a month prior and were no longer on the lease, but just assumed they could stay at the house after the wedding. Door shut, locked. It's damn near 3 a.m. Jess has no idea what to do. Sally is just coherent enough to sling slurs at the roommate through the windows. I basically begged Jess to drive me home. She doesn't want to because it's a long drive. I said, if you take me home and then to my car in the morning, I will let you ride my horses, shoot my guns, and I'll pay for your gas. She was sold at horses, so she agreed, but was too tired to make the hour drive and asked me to. After the longest drive of my life, we got to my parents' house. We get inside, and I show them to my brother's old room, and I go to mine. I got a text from my father. He had taken my mother on a vacation that weekend, but got alerted by his camera app that a car pulled in and saw me get out with 2 girls. He said, if you do something stupid, I won't cover for you. I tried to call him to explain the situation and tell him about the shit night my brother had brought on me, but he wouldn't answer. So I was finally home, but slept like shit because I didn't like the idea of my dad thinking I was cheating 4 months out from being married. When my fiancée woke up, we talked, and she actually found the whole thing fairly entertaining. Her friend had texted her and sent shit tons of pictures she had taken prior to approaching me, but it was just me talking like arm's distance away from Jess. She appreciated the constant texts I was sending her throughout the night and laughed at how panicked they sounded. So everything ended fine, I guess, but the night still sucked. Edit. My brother apologized when I confronted him. Essentially, it boiled down to the conversation I had with the girls in the car. He just wanted to hook up, but when Sally started opening up about her life, it ruined the night for him. He called an old fling who came and grabbed him from the bar. Story 3. Stepdad and Stepjima made my life hell. Hi, hello. A few years back, my mom and first stepdad got a divorce. First, I was elated. My stepdad was always hard on me and even made me depressed to the point where I wanted to die. Anyways, I soon realized that despite this, I cared for him like he was my dad. He had raised me most of my childhood along with my half brother, his son. Anyways, in the last years of their marriage, my mom and stepdad constantly got into fights. My stepdad was a mean drunk and was a complete asshole when in a stupor. They separate but still live together while the divorce is being drafted. My mom talked to a lot of men she met online. One of them was my second stepdad. For the sake of simplicity, we'll call him Dan. Now, when I first met Dan, me, my brother, my mom, and our collie Pyrenees Cross were out for a walk along the rural canal roads. If you know, you know. Anyways, this fake blue Ford Escape pulled up looking for my mom. We get into this rando's car and go for a quick drive. He buys me and my brother chocolate milk and seems like a nice dude. He dropped us off and my stepdad was rather mad. A week later and it really hits a climax. My mom tells us boys to pack some clothes and blankets. Dan came and took us to his house where we meet his mom, the homemaker, I guess. We ended up staying for a couple months. The divorce is finalized and my stepdad gets us on weekends occasionally. Well, this is where things become weird. The house he rented was very, very small. Housing 5 people in a one-bedroom house is a pain. We end up moving into his aunt's house, which is a shithole. Dog feces everywhere. Me and my bro slept in a windowless room and barely came out. Eventually, this becomes too much once more. And my mom's mom rents us her camo trailer. We park at a park and so on. My mom gets this grueling job of newspaper delivery. For those who don't know, it's 7 days a week and in the wee hours of the morning. The whole summer was an insomniac nightmare. One night, I got mad. My phone was taken for 3 months at this point. I've been the main runner for the route and haven't been rewarded in the slightest. I ask my mom and Dan if they can have my phone, and he blows. He shoves me around this small camp trailer, kicking me and punching me. He even attempted to drag me outside into the sharp gravel. For a month, 6 incidents like this happened. I became depressed. I have no way to express my sadness other than to my stepdad. Least to say he was livid. He held his tongue per my request. I feared Dan would attack my brother and my mom. Another month goes by with one incident and my mom and Dan have a huge fight about some unfaithful stuff she found on his phone. The next day, his sister comes and picks him up and he flies to Oklahoma. 5 months go by. We went and moved in with my stepdad and his girlfriend at the time. Everyone got along pretty okay. My mom got with another guy who tried to fight me. He was pretty scrawny compared to a bumpkin who spent his childhood helping build sheds and move heavy stuff. Me. He leaves as well. My mom somehow gets into contact with Dan again. At first, I was livid, but she eventually ensured it wasn't going to be the same. By this point, it's 2021, early February, I think. It's been a full year since I first met him. And I'm not even done yet. Perhaps come back for part 2.